Hey guys, Critter here. Today we're doing something a little bit different on the channel, as you can tell, I'm sure. So a while back I put out a poll to see what games you guys might want to see on the channel besides the Isles. To my surprise and delight, planetzoo actually won that poll. So here we are today, starting our brand new zoo. Now, as much as I am delighted to be playing this game, I have actually never built a proper zoo before in this game. A lot of my time has been in ranking up conservation points in what you would call a breeder zoo. So building habitats and layouts and making proper zoos are definitely not something I really have any experience with. But I thought that this might be a really good chance to challenge myself and my creativity by making an entire zoo for you guys. So that being said, I am adding another thing to this. I am doing this zoo in franchise mode. Why in the world would you challenge yourself to do this in franchise mode, Critter? You have never built a zoo before. I simply just wanted the challenge. I think it is a really fun idea to make a zoo with all of the challenges that come with franchise mode, and I want it to look beautiful but still be functioning, and the animals are happy, but yet you're building it realistically in a way, I guess. So let's dive into a little bit of history that I've come up with about our zoo. From the title of the video, I'm sure you have gathered that our zoo is called the Karsta Zoo. So why Karsta Zoo? Well, I want our zoo to be based around the Florida-ish area, kind of more inland, because I want it to be pretty forested but still lush. The backstory is that there were some farmers that were clearing land for cattle pastures and whatnot, and while they were doing so, they came across a cave. Well, in Florida there are a lot of limestone caves, so I wanted our zoo to be based around a cave, and I did learn recently that limestone caves are called karsts, so therefore our zoo is called the Karsta Zoo. Now, because we are going to have a cave in this zoo, I will be building one. I don't think I'm gonna build a fully interior cave, but I want to at least make an entrance to one, because I want our zoo to have cave tours and a lot of things built around this cave, because this was the beginning feature of our zoo. So, with farmers having found this cave, obviously they wouldn't give up their land all willy-nilly, because they have pasture to be putting cattle on. I decided that we have our zoo founder, who is named Olivia Redmond. She found this land and this cave that these farmers had discovered, and decided that she was going to try to buy this land from the farmers. So therefore she got the community and the town nearby, she got their votes and got their help, and through a combined effort they were able to come up with enough funds to buy this land from these farmers, and they set up what they originally called the Redmond Cave Tours and Exploration. So they would be doing cave tours and on foot, and they would be holding kind of like educational classes, teaching people about this cave and about the wildlife and animals and nature that is around this cave. Over time, this would have gotten more popular, and they would have gotten more funding, and eventually they installed an animal sanctuary, like a wildlife sanctuary, where they would rescue the native wildlife and the animals that lived in the area that needed help or couldn't be released to the wild because of injuries or familiarity with humans. So therefore, they would have opened up the Redmond Animal Sanctuary and Rehabilitation Center. And that kind of ties into where we are today. So today, I am building a raccoon exhibit. Now, this is a very upgraded version of what the zoo would have had originally. It's actually quite luxurious for a couple of raccoons, but I don't want to do a fully realistic zoo. There will be some fantastical things or things that might not quite be realistic or real zoos would have, but I want to give myself a little bit of creative freedom to build things that I think would be cool but could still technically be plausible. I also don't really have any like set plans for the layout of the zoo. I kind of just want to add animals as I feel the need to want them or that they should be in this zoo. I do have a set like idea of what animals I want in this zoo and the areas that I do want in Karsta Zoo, but that can definitely change, and if you guys happen to come up with anything that you really, really want in our zoo, we might just make that happen. But I do have at least a layout of some of the animals I want in our zoo. For the beginning layout, we are going to be starting with the area that was the Redmond Animal Sanctuary. So this will be a lot of your North American animals, mostly those that live kind of more down towards Florida and that kind of area of the US. This is going to be kind of a more updated zoo than what would have been there originally, mainly because I like to build more modern or more what you would see in like the more prestigious zoos like San Diego Zoo or Sedgwick County Zoo that I've been to. Some of those more modernist, highly funded, I would say, zoos. So, getting into kind of what you've been watching in the background, this is our raccoon exhibit. Like I said, it's very elaborate, but I really wanted the big viewing area to be this big, like, domed-in mesh cage that would go into a backstage area, and then the kind of aviary style on the other side could have been home to like native songbirds and stuff, but they have connected it to the raccoon backstage, so now the raccoons can actually go into that side as well. Part of that was also because I miscalculated how much room a family of raccoons needed in planetzoo, and this is actually barely enough for them. But it is enough and they are happy, so therefore I did meet their welfare requirement for space, even if they do have raccoon pups as well. You're also not going to see me build a lot of the backstage area. I do want to do that possibly on my own. Backstage areas are kind of my bread and butter, and I do really, really love building them, so I will do that probably off camera when we get more funds in the zoo, because this exhibit pretty much took everything that you start with in franchise mode. So you'll also see me sorting through a lot of the materials. I am not very familiar with all the building pieces, so I'm sure there are a lot of good pieces that I am missing or overlooking, because I don't build in this game. I never really have, but I should have, because I'm enjoying it a lot with how I did this exhibit, and I am very excited to continue this. That being said, I also didn't do a lot of detailing on the building. Again, I wanted to keep it simple because of the funds that you start with in the zoo. I didn't want to go overkill and bankrupt us before we even got started. with the sanctuary area / North America area, it is probably going to be a lot of concrete and wood. That might also go for the rest of the zoo. Zoos are very good at making their backstages very, very simple, but it makes sense because you don't really see those areas. Again, you're seeing me build the backstage area, but this is probably very subject to change. I just wanted to get the general layout of what it's supposed to look like back here before I go detail crazy with it another time. But we are actually done with the main barriers for this raccoon exhibit, and we will be getting started on the inside of the main viewing area. The last thing I did do with the barriers is I did add in this concrete footing. Raccoons, I imagine, are diggers, and they would probably figure out how to dig their way out of their exhibit. So this exhibit got a anti-dig barrier out of concrete, and I imagine this would go several feet into the ground. But you'll see me adding that onto the mesh here, and then I also added a little bit on the aviary side as well. I did also add in these like glass panels. Personally, I hate the look of looking through chain link to view the animals, so I really wanted like a main kind of area that the guests could walk up to and get like a clear view of the raccoons without having to look through chain link. I've seen a lot of these kind of viewing dome areas, like these panes of glass, in a lot of these like smaller exhibits as well. So I really kind of wanted to add it to my exhibit as well. You also see me moving things a lot. The Z fighting for me is kind of bad, and I haven't really found a way to work around it other than having to move things like the tiniest pixel ever to get it to stop. I know a lot of people can probably just ignore that, but I cannot. If it's Z fighting, it's gonna bother me. But here I'm adding a little ramp so the raccoons can get into their backstage, and then I also felt like just having one kind of door into the aviary was kind of a thing waiting for disaster. Like a raccoon could just get out of that and he would be on the loose and gone. So I did add an airlock kind of to this exhibit, and you can actually see me using this beautiful workshop item. I will have any of these workshop items that I used linked in my description. I love the little person one. It helps me immensely with scale. And then I do use a few later on with a little bit of backstage things. But yeah, I just wanted to add a little airlock because I know a lot of zoos have those, especially in like primates or like smaller aviary type exhibits. And finally, we are on to the interior of the main viewing exhibit. So raccoons love water, and I wanted to add a little pool. I did not measure out how much they actually need, so the finished pool is actually a little bit bigger than a raccoon probably needs, and I might change that. I don't know yet. I do like how it turned out, but I do feel like it's kind of comically large for the raccoons that we have in there now. So we'll see. But for now, I like it, and I don't think I'll be changing it very much. I struggled kind of heavily with the terrain tool for a hot minute. I actually had to redo a little bit of my pathing to get it to like not fight with me. I'm sure I'll learn better as I go, but if anybody has any tips for that thing, oh my gosh, I feel like I need them. Here you'll see me adding in the shift doors. Now, I did just use temporary ones for now. I think I might go back and change my choice for the doors. I did find this like really pretty metal piece that I feel like works better for the more modernist look I'm going for. Also, it doesn't use a rusty piece of corrugated metal, so probably safer for the animals overall. Anyway, but yeah, and then I decided I wanted to take a break from the main exhibit, and now I moved over to their aviary, which I wanted to be their primary kind of climbing area with all of their climbing enrichment and a lot of the kind of like scaffolding and stuff that they can climb on and rest on. Originally, I was just gonna do the center column for climbing, but then I got an idea that I really wanted to do kind of like this spiral kind of climbing walkway that they could use, and I also found these little wooden bridges, and I fell in love, and I really wanted to use them, and I feel like they would be perfect for this kind of catwalk that I've put that the raccoons can climb up on the sides of the mesh. Alright, and we are back to the main exhibit. I did fix the ceiling first because I didn't realize it was poking through and it was bothering me. And then I decided I did want the raccoons to have a pipe with water coming out of it to make it look like it was, you know, being filtered, and also they like running water. So I added that wall in so I could add the rocks against it, and then I put in the ceiling of where I wanted it. I kind of wanted an area where maybe the raccoons could climb up on top of the rocks, so you'll see me later on, I add a little bit of more climbing to the top of these rocks. So I did, originally I wanted to put a rock mound kind of in the back so you could raise the raccoons up to the guest level, so like when they're climbing they are viewable and not on the ground where you have to search through grass to find them. And I was going to add a little house on there, but I wanted like a little feeding platform kind of that they could go on, and I like the idea of connecting it to our little rock pump house of sorts. So you'll see me adding quite a bit of rock work to kind of just make that look better. So after I got most of this main like climbing infrastructure in, I started looking at the big log I put in, and I really did not like the bottom of it. It just, to me, it looked too flat and too kind of like fake, I guess. And so I found these like bark pieces and I really like them, so I decided to add them to the bottom of the log to make it look more real, and maybe like something the raccoons could go into, or you know, something that wasn't like sawed off straight at the bottom. And we finally have finished most of the interior of their exhibit. I was originally going to go with a flat roof, but the more I looked at it, the more I really didn't like it, so we are adding a roof to the top of our building. I did kind of want it to maybe look like it was like maybe the original like building, but they have like added on to it with like the big raccoon exhibit, so this roof was modified, but it's still kind of old. That's why it's like the corrugated sheet metal. And I did kind of struggle with this roofing. I am not an architect by any means. I have no idea if it looks natural or not. But I did the best I could with the pieces that we had without having to build like a fully custom roof. And then I did add this overhang area on the backside because I like the idea of maybe having it. I don't know what to put there yet. If you guys have any ideas for what we could put back there, I will gladly take them. I'm thinking maybe like a little rest area, or maybe like a vending machine area that people can walk into, like if it's raining or just like a really hot day, people can just go back there, maybe. Plants time! I picked a few. I obviously used some North America, like temperate ones. I didn't want to use tropical because, like, we're not like in the middle of like the tropical oceans of Florida. We're kind of more up in the middle of a state, so I wanted to use more temperate plants. And you can see I already have a lot of the enrichment in for the raccoons. I wanted to get it placed down where I could, so I could work around them. I do have the aviary is all toy enrichment because the zookeeper in the game actually can't go back there, but I found out as long as you don't put food enrichment where they can't reach it, they can still clean the whole exhibit, so that was a really nice discovery. And then I added lots and lots of leaf litter, even up on top of the aviary roof, you know, like that's not going to get cleaned as often, so I really wanted to add some leaf litter up there to really sell the idea that the leaves just kind of collect in those like corners of the mesh. And then I did want kind of like a privacy fence around the outside of this area, so I did use these wooden pieces to make a big privacy fence. And then you'll also see I have the water cleaning thing there, and I did actually end up hiding that with another building, so you'll see me put that in here in a few. Alright, and with the fence done, I needed a gate for the entrances for the staff, so I do see these a lot in regular zoos. They usually have these either kind of right out in the open where you can tell that there's something underneath it, but I've also been through a few where they're quite hidden actually, and you wouldn't even know they're there until you watch somebody walk through them. Obviously these ones are big and you can tell they're there. That was kind of my whole idea. But yeah, I basically just did the same thing I did with the privacy fence, but made it kind of smaller, and then added the hinges and kind of like an implied locking mechanism to the gate. And like I said earlier, here I am adding that extra little kind of wing add-on for the pump house. I did not detail the inside of this at all. That might be a later thing that might not even get detailed at all. I haven't really decided how desperate I am to make the inside of that building look pretty. But I did add that. I added a door, so it looks nice from the outside at least. I felt like my privacy fence was kind of boring, so I wanted to add these like stone kind of, I guess, like barriers of sorts. That's what they originally were supposed to be, but then I got like the crazy idea, what if I put benches in them so the guests can actually sit on these, kind of like, you know, makeshift benches that they can sit on. I haven't actually seen any of the guests use them yet. I don't know if maybe they won't use them because there's the scenery pieces in the way. If anybody knows, please let me know. I'd like them to be functional, but they may not be, but at least they look nice. And then there's a few places where I also dropped it kind of lower, and I turned it into a flower pot. I don't think I added any plants to it because I haven't found any that I vibe with yet, but they will eventually have plants in them when I find some that I enjoy. last but not least, I wanted to decorate a little bit of the backstage area just to show you guys kind of what I enjoy doing. If you guys do want to see me decorate the backstage areas, like the insides where the animals are kept and stuff, I can totally include that. I know this video is quite long already. I do plan to make the ones in the future not 40 minutes, because that's a lot for a time-lapse video. But I just wanted to keep this first one long as a test and just as like an opener to our zoo. But yeah, I really love decorating backstage areas, so just making it overgrown, it's more of a work area, not really where people are going to be visiting often, so they don't really upkeep that as much. And then I found, again, a bunch of these backstage pieces off the workshop, and I love these pieces. I have a select few that I use everywhere for the backstage, but yeah, I grabbed a few of those and I decorated the backstage, and that was kind of just the finishing touches to this. And we are done with our raccoon exhibit. I was so excited to work on this, and I can't wait to see where our zoo goes. But for now, enjoy some cinematics of our raccoons. I hope you guys enjoyed our first video of Karsta Zoo and our raccoon enclosure. Maybe hit that like button, and if you want to stick around for the evolution of our zoo, maybe hit subscribe. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in episode 2. Bye-bye!